Hey everybody, you're about to see a testimonial from a client who is another postpartum EFT tapping client. Classic scenario, everything just came to a head at that 4th trimester postpartum stage. The journey just to even get there, fertility, pregnancy, birth, all of that, it all just comes up at that 4th trimester type stage. And EFT was a really great outlet for her. The difference in her energy, she's got so much sparkle now compared to when I was starting to work with her, and I'm super grateful to her. She's remaining anonymous, which is wonderful, and I'm just very grateful that she was open to chatting about it. So enjoy. Thanks for watching.
Hello.
It's so nice to see you again. So thank you for doing this. I just wanted to give some feedback to people who are looking for options, who are postpartum moms. And I just wanted to, first of all, just tell me what was going on with you and your situation before you started EFT sessions with me.
Sure. So before I started EFT, I was really struggling. I am a first-time mom. My daughter was born in November, and about 6-8 weeks postpartum, some really significant signs of postpartum depression started popping up for me. And I was just really struggling with depression for the first time. So I was dabbling in therapy. I was looking into medication, was really just sort of looking at how to create a toolbox for myself and my family so that I could get better.
Yep. It was, so November she was born, and then I think I saw you, was it 3 months in or 4 months?
I think it was January.
January, yeah. So that's 2022 we're talking about just now. And why did you choose to work with me, first of all?
So I chose to work with you and try EFT for a couple of reasons. For you specifically, a dear friend who knows me well and had worked with you before, recommended you. So I felt really good about kind of dipping my toe in the EFT pond.
Yeah. And you'd never had any before, had you? You'd never used it before, yeah.
No, I had tried, over like my lifetime, I tried a little bit of therapy, but I really hadn't tried much of anything before.
Sure. Yeah.
This was all new to me. I loved the potential of doing it virtually, right? Having a baby at home and trying to think about going anywhere and arranging childcare and things like that was just not something I could tackle at the time. So that element was really helpful.
Absolutely.
And I was just thinking about something different. I am a believer in therapy, but the idea of laying on that couch and talking in that really traditional way, it just didn't feel like a fit for what I was dealing with.
And the difference for anyone that's listening with EFT, we're actually moving the energy. We're not just talking about it and going round in circles. We're shifting energy. When we're tapping on the meridian endpoints, you're discharging the emotions that are sitting there literally in your nervous system, your meridians. It's different. Yeah.
And I found that to be so helpful. I had so much pent up. So postpartum was really rearing its head, the depression, but I had spent 2 years getting pregnant, being pregnant, having pregnancy loss, and then having my daughter. And so there was so much just wound up in me. So the idea of EFT, of literally releasing that, really interesting.
And that's the thing, it's amazing how all of these things just turn up in the postpartum stage, because we've got this baby now and it's well and it's safe, but suddenly this stuff comes up around that time quite often with people, and there's a lot to process. And if you don't know how to do it effectively, it can be really tough, because as you say, sometimes you just feel numb. You just don't feel anything, and you should be feeling, or you thought you should be feeling joy, like this baby is here and it's not the way you thought it would be after all of that massive journey to get there. Yeah. And the thing is also, it's easier when there's a practitioner to show you the blind spots, because we don't see them ourselves. We can't see them ourselves, and it takes somebody else external to bring them to the surface. And it's like, as you know, it's like peeling the onion. We're doing layers and we do it safely and effectively. And it's, yeah. So was there anything in particular about EFT sessions that really helped? What was so effective for you?
So the point you actually just made about blind spots, that was what was so incredibly helpful for me. As we did the first round of tapping, you asked me to just sort of talk through, right? Just share a little bit about myself. And I shared that fear of protecting my daughter, whether it be through conception, pregnancy, or birth, that she was here and she was safe. And you actually had me say that she is here and she is safe. And that language, I literally could feel, like I could feel things loosen. I could feel that fight or flight start to just calm down. And that was so incredibly helpful for me. And I have to say, after we met, her sleep has just been a struggle, right? All babies everywhere. And sleep, postpartum depression is a really tricky place to be. And I would find myself at 2 and 3 in the morning, literally doing tapping and literally talking through some of the language you had helped me find to say, you know, she's screaming bloody murder in the middle of the night. She's safe and she's okay. And I've done my job. And that those affirmations and that language really helped me just kind of bring the level back down as things got tense.
And doing that while tapping, it's scientifically proven to reduce cortisol in the system. And when we are in the amygdala and we're in our fight or flight, when there's the baby screaming and we can't think straight, it's so hard to get there. But when we just breathe and tap in those moments, oh my gosh, it's invaluable. I'm so glad. So how's the sleeping now?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
Oh, how is her sleeping now? Is it still?
It's getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting better. The nice thing is like the emotion is out of it now. She's healthy, sturdy. She's like 14 pounds. So when she's upset in the middle of the night, we know she's not starving. She's just
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's so great. So as a result of the sessions, what's been the outcome for you? What would you say the big takeaway has been for you with EFT sessions?
I think it really helped. EFT sessions really helped me rewire. It really helped me rethink. I was holding all this guilt and all this pressure.
Yeah.
And you helped me physically and literally release it and try to rewire how I thought about those things. I had carried all this idea of failure when I lost my first pregnancy. And through EFT, I just was able to find some closure and some release of that, and instead focus on the present and find the joy and instead be focused on my daughter who is here safe and sound, and try to find just those moments, you know.
That's so awesome to hear. I'm so pleased. Something I was going to say, it'll come back to me. The other thing was, how would you feel like your life has changed since kind of achieving more of a balance or reconnection with yourself?
You know, I think that EFT, in part of sort of the suite of resources that I started focusing on for myself, and all of sort of the self-care, and most importantly, the rewriting of the narrative I had created for myself, I think that is where the life-changing impact has happened. And I don't mean to just harp on these same terms, but guilt and pressure are the two things that I do. I put a lot of pressure on myself and I carry a lot of guilt. And so EFT really gave me a tool to rewrite that story in my head that I'd written for myself. And I think that has just been incredibly helpful, because I'm just in the beginning of parenthood and it's going to continue to be hard and there's going to be seasons. But I feel like having that tool will prevent me from writing that story that it's all my fault and that I'm not enough. We talk about that language a lot, that I'm enough. And that has been really, really helpful in sort of rewiring that narrative for myself.
Brilliant. Yeah, that is so good to hear. Oh, it's so nice to chat to you. So where do you think you would be right now if you didn't have EFT sessions? I mean, this kind of stuff is in the tissues. If we don't really process it and we push it down and suppress it, that's when it becomes a depression. And it can just be coming out in all the wrong times, in months, maybe years down the line. And we are so good, humans and women especially, are so good at just repress and move on. And you're not fully in alignment with yourself when there's all this stuff in your system. And without EFT, where do you think you would be personally?
Such a good question. Without EFT, so when I started to show the signs of postpartum depression, I was really stunned. To your point, women are taught to just kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps and keep going, right? And so I talked to friends, and I talked to friends of friends and family members who'd gone through postpartum depression, and many of them expressed the same thing, that they had waited to get help. And so a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, they were still in this state of fight or flight, of depression, of anxiety. Their marriages, maybe had suffered, their relationship with their child, they just missed this time. And so I thought of them. Mm-hmm. Because that's the last thing you want, right? They always say in parenthood, the days are long, but the years are short. And I just felt like I have to get better now because I'm missing it with my daughter. And so without EFT, I think that state of crisis that I was in could have gone on for years, mm-hmm. but I was able to really kind of draw this line in the sand and reroute myself with your help, and just kind of start clean and remove a lot of that trauma, the trauma from the birth, the trauma from loss, the trauma from infertility, and really just work that out so that it didn't just stay right here, right at the surface, just come out in all sorts of really undesirable ways.
Yeah, it's hard to tell like where you would be, because it shifts you back into a better place and your perspective can't kind of go there anymore. But thank you. And so if there's anyone listening that's like on the fence, thinking about working with me, even if it's just a family member or a friend that just instinctively knows maybe this is going to be good for so-and-so, what would you say to them?
So to anyone struggling or watching a loved one struggle, specifically with postpartum, my experience is to just try it, to just see if it works for you. It's one, really low. I hate to have that be the first thing I say, but with a new mom, if you're not sleeping,
wait. You just cut out there. I think it's really what? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So it's really low commitment to just try it.
Yeah.
The virtual flexibility, the time commitment, you're not signing up for a week-long retreat where if it doesn't work, you have all this time lost. Try it. Yeah. And you'll know really quickly if it works. I think it will work. And I think it's so important. EFT for me was a great tool. It was also important to set that time aside for myself, to allow myself the luxury of self-care, and to work with someone who could help me get out of my echo chamber. And so I think for anyone thinking about it, that's the key, to bring someone in like you, Marna, who is so talented in what you do, to help you just break that circle and that cycle that I just might not be able to do on your own.
Yeah. And I think also it takes a little bit of courage. Just when you do feel bad, it's hard to move into a place of wanting to get help. But I think it's, in the long term, it's invaluable for the relationship with yourself and ultimately your baby, isn't it? Well, that is awesome. I can't tell you how nice it is to speak to you. It's just great. I'm so pleased for you.
Thank you. Well, it really was a gift, quite literally a gift from a friend, but a gift to work with you. Yep. And a gift to really look inward and to try and just rewire, rewrite, release all of that was so wound up in me. Because I just, a strong wind could make me have a meltdown at that point. And now I feel like my feet are back on the ground. Like I myself again. And
good to hear. Excellent. Awesome. All righty. I shall catch up with you again soon, no doubt. But I'm so glad you're back on track and feeling a bit more aligned with yourself, and
Thank you so
enjoy that
much.
lovely daughter this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you.
And you take care. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was her experience. Thank you so much for watching. And if you know anybody or are interested, check out the link below and get in touch.